welcome to the floor. I don't expect this is necessarily going to be a particularly long video because there's a reason The Incredible Hulk is the most overlooked movie in the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Hi all, I'm STAZIC and today we are talking about The Incredible Hulk, the second movie in the MCU as part of my Marvel Cinematic Universe rewatch. The Incredible Hulk did come out the same year as Iron Man, but it's the movie I find that no one tends to talk about, and I think there are a few main reasons that probably contribute to that. For one, it was the lowest grossing, I believe, of the Marvel movies, grossing only a cool 134.52 mil. There is also the fact that another Hulk movie had been made not too long before this, in 2003 and 2008, where the Hulk and Iron Man were made. I also feel like it doesn't feel like a Marvel movie. Like when you're watching majority of the movies from the Marvel Cinematic Universe, they do feel like a collective, they feel like a whole. There's a certain amount of color and atmosphere that even when they've got different plots and characters going on, they still feel like they belong together. This movie, I don't feel does. This movie, I don't feel has that. It feels very different and set aside, and that could be in part from the fact it was released the same time as Iron Man, but there's also the fact that The Incredible Hulk has a different actor to the Banner that most people have come to know and love throughout the Avengers movies, etc., and he does give the character a very different feel. I also personally just don't find it a particularly engaging movie, and I think that's more my taste than anything, but I don't believe it was necessarily received fantastically by critics either at the time. And on the note of it doesn't feel like a Marvel movie, it doesn't feel or look like a Marvel movie. For one, the tone is very dark, and I mean that visually as well. It's visually quite dark, to the extent that I'd almost say it belongs more as a DC movie. It would probably fit better in that lineup aesthetically. It just feels very disconnected. So that's a bit of an initial rundown. As I did with Iron Man, I'm just gonna go through some of my thoughts as I was watching it. As I said, didn't find it particularly engaging. It's another one of the movies that I've never rewatched since I initially saw it many years ago, and I don't have many notes. I can tell you right now that one of my notes while I was watching this is literally just Z, 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 Z. A big line of Zs along my page. That's clearly how I was feeling at the time. Alright, so let's go through my notes. So initially, my first note was, this movie has a very dramatic, dark tone. You feel that from the very opening scenes. You also immediately get this setup that these movies might be connected, because in the opening kind of collage of events, you do see, I believe, a newspaper that mentions Stark Industries. So there's that. You have your Stan Lee cameo. He's suffering from gamma sickness, I believe, because of some blood that got into a can or something at the factory where Banner was working. There's something about Mr. Green. Like, even, it's to the extent that I couldn't tell you the exact plot of this movie. Like, I think there was a few different storylines, like Banner was looking for a cure for his Hulk, and then there were people trying to find the Hulk, and then there was also this confrontation at the end where someone else, like, infected himself to become Abomination. Is that what he becomes? Then you've got my line of Zs. He's keeping track of days without incidents at one point, so at one point you see the 17. Oh, that was kind of a nice feature. I don't know why that stuck out to me in particular. Days without incident. My next note is Stalker Alert. I think that was when he was watching his ex-girlfriend from afar. He protected her, you almost killed her. I think there was an incident where they find the Hulk, like the army or whatever, and they're all attacking him. And he has, like, his ex-girlfriend with him, who I think's the daughter of the general or something. I couldn't tell you, don't remember. They're all, like, firing at the Hulk, and she kind of gets in, she's kind of in the way, and Hulk covers her and protects her. No, I liked that quote. I feel like I have so little energy compared to what I usually have, but it's because this film just, I feel like I'm wasting my time talking about it. Like, it's not an objectively bad film necessarily. I just feel like it doesn't feel like a Marvel movie, and it's just not necessarily my cup of tea. Steamy ... I think there was a moment where they were kissing or something, and my note is, doesn't she have a boyfriend? That is something I hate seeing in films. Like, it doesn't matter what the context is. If you're with someone, don't be kissing other people, etc. Oh, they weren't just, oh, that's right, it was steamy, because they weren't just kissing, they were on the bed and everything, and then he was like, no, we can't do this, which, fair enough, that could end very badly when the Hulk's evolved, but, yeah. Just some those things we don't need to be seeing. Rising heart rate, dangerous, question mark, it's about the steamy scene. Finally meets Mr. Blue. He meets this guy he's been corresponding with. Cool. Don't ever speak to me as your daughter again. So the daughter is speaking to her father, basically because he won't give up on trying to capture or kill or whatever they're trying to do to Hulk. She's like, nah, I've had enough. If you're not gonna stop this, I'm not your daughter, I guess. Cool. The mixture could be an abomination when the guy is trying to get Mr. Blue to basically infect him to become Abomination. I think I wrote that quote down just because I'm pretty sure the character's name is Abomination. So I do think that's kind of, I don't know, it can be equally neat and cringy when things do that, where they kind of slip in the reference or the name in a way like that. Because I say it can also be very cringy because, what did we have on yesterday? The Expendables 2, and they have really cringy references in that, like they say something to Arnie about being terminated or something, like, it's cringy, he's cringy. So then I think this is at the very end of the movie. So we're already at the very end of the movie. I didn't make many notes, couldn't pay attention, wasn't paying that much attention during the movie. I couldn't do it. I'm sorry. He's meditating and his eyes go green, so obviously the cure or whatever they were trying to do didn't work. Oh, and then here's our other thing. At the very end of the movie, this movie doesn't have an after credits scene. Rather, the after credits scene is put before the credits. But it's Tony Stark. Tony Stark comes up and he's like, what if I told you we were putting a team together? And that's the end of the movie. Ultimately, I just feel like it's an underwhelming movie that doesn't feel like it belongs. I don't really have that much to say about it outside of that. I mean, it has some important aspects, like it establishes who the Hulk is, it establishes how people can basically get powers via different means, and then that's a thing that exists in this universe, and it establishes that all the movies are connected because of course we have our Tony Stark cameo at the end. It's not like a terrible movie. It's not a terrible movie. It's not necessarily a purposeless movie. It has its merits. It has a reason to be there. I just don't have a desire to ever rewatch it again. I could do without it. It's just a meh experience, to be honest. And yeah. I feel bad being so negative. I know I was a little bit negative about Iron Man, but I overall still enjoyed that movie. What can I say though? It's just blah. Moving on, I'm excited to move on to more exciting movies. I will just say though, something I didn't particularly mention when I was talking about Iron Man the movie is it frustrates me how big a part of the MCU Iron Man actually is, because he appears in like almost every single movie, such as this one. We're watching a movie about the Incredible Hulk, we still get our Iron Man cameo. Just so sick of seeing his face, and it's only the second movie. I'm sorry. Anyway, that's it. Don't really have much to say. Cool. STAZIC out!